Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of my podcast. Now, what was I talking about? My name is V Noir, and this week I'm outside. I'm like, let me set up the camera too, because LOL for the Patreon. For the Patreon. There we go. But yes, I am outside, and the camera is not going to be on me the whole time because I am outside. And a little different from the other time I was outside. And I think, what was that for? Oh, I was doing that for, it was like a spoiler-free review of something for one of the free episodes on my Patreon. But anyway, I thought it would be, since I'm outside, I thought it'd be more interesting if I pointed the camera at my view rather than just at me, so you can look at what I'm looking at while I'm talking. So let me turn the camera. I have a lot of stuff with me. But yeah. There we go. Like, sorry for people who are only listening to me and not viewing this. For my brief little interlude, I guess. But yeah, I'm outside. Why am I outside? Because I was doing a tree rubbing, and that might seem a little, I'm like, okay, truck from across the water. How about you don't do that? No. But yeah, like, that might seem a little, I don't know, like, why are you doing that? But it was a tree that I really loved. I usually have like a favorite tree whenever I go to new places and whatnot. And so I just enjoyed sitting under it and whatnot, but I hadn't gone and seen it in a long time. So I really, I was struck and just surprised in general with it being completely gone. And then I was brought, I was just like, sort of, this grief kind of overcame me a bit, because I'm like, was it my fault? Did I even take a photo of it, like a full photo of it? Is there any way I could have prevented it or anything like that? Like, all of these different things, all these thoughts and stuff came over me, and I was just like, well, how do I preserve the image of this tree without just photographing it? And so, that's one of those things that I always end up doing, of just like having a photography background and thinking of different ways in which to capture something. And so that's where the tree rubbing came in to play. And then that's something I like doing in general, because I feel like photographing texture doesn't go far enough for me, especially when it comes to like the texture of trees and things. And so doing a rubbing, which is just like putting paper over the object and then using pencil to essentially color over it, therein creating an image, essentially. And there's a whole cool thing about trees too, with like the whole rings and whatnot, and like however many rings is how many years old it is. I'm like, that's cool. But I wanted this to be like a sort of meditative thing that I did on just like thinking about life, death, grief, the passage of time and whatnot. And I had initially done it and then just ran out of not time, but like I just had I forgot that this wasn't a regular pencil, so I couldn't sharpen it. You have to use a knife. This is like more of a charcoal pencil. And I had a pencil sharpener and not a knife on me. And then I, tried to come back, and then there was a couple using it as like a table. I was like, okay, goodbye. And now today, I went out early and decided to do it. And, it was a good time. I had fun. But I was halfway through it, and then a guy came up, and he wasn't rude or anything like that, but it was just like, damn, I wanted this to be my alone time, and now it's not. And it's like, haha, to be into community is to be inconvenient, especially when you're outside. Which I am today. I am outside, but yeah, yes. What was I gonna say? Anyway, I took a break. I took a week off. I think after every 10 episodes, I will take 1 week off. I am pretty late to recording this. I watched the movie that I'm about to talk about yesterday, and then was very tired for some reason and just fell asleep on the couch. But going forward, I think I'm going to try to bulk review movies and post them, because that'll, one, free up some of my time. My Patreon will have more of like a as it's happening sort of thing going on with it, because I will use Patreon to review TV shows and whatnot, because I have to catch up with the final season of The Boys. I was gonna watch Spider Noir. What other shows was I gonna do? Those are the two main ones that I can think of right now. And like K-dramas, any K-dramas as well, because I love me a K-drama. I go in and out of, oh, let me stop. Anyway, as I was saying, I love a K-drama. I go in and out of being like obsessed with them and watching them, and then I forget about them. Honestly, I need to get more into like other countries' dramas in general, because they can be pretty fun. And in general, I feel like America does have good television. It is unfortunately still on actual TV, not streaming. I mean, streaming can have good shows. Literally, I'm going to talk about 2 shows that are on streaming, but it's just like, okay, there's like a guy walking by me, and I was like, he was singing before he got here, and I'm like, is he gonna sing while I'm recording? No. But again, it's like, that's just how it is. I can't tell if you can see the geese. I keep feeding the geese like peanuts, and they're just a little too big to be surrounding me like that. Just a little too big. Creeps me out a little bit. Well, not creeps me out, but I'm just like, ugh. But I think the big thing is like television versus streaming, like actual TV versus streaming. I like the long seasons. We don't get that with streaming. Streaming has, you know, the 45-minute episodes, and then, you know, it's only 8 episodes, if that, and then you have to wait a few years for it to come back, and then it's like, and then it might get canceled, so then you don't even feel like you can invest in anything new, because it's like, okay, well, what if I love all of this, like the production quality is amazing, the acting is phenomenal, and then it gets canceled. Like, no one wants to invest time. No one, like, who's gonna trust Netflix anymore, you know? Versus like TV, network television, you do have these like 12 episode seasons, 24 episode seasons if the show gets renewed, and, you know, it's popular, so people are more confident, you know? And it's like, yeah, no, I love that. I love that so much. But okay. I'm having like insight. I'm understanding how my camcorder is, because that's another reason why I'm recording what I'm looking at and not what myself, because when I was trying to sync the audio the last time, I was like, why is this hell? And it's because the camera, there's maybe like 10 seconds or so where like it only records in 10-minute intervals, and I had done something for like maybe 30 minutes or something like that, and that was awful. Oh no, the geese are fighting. Oh my god, hearing a goose hiss, that was crazy. I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know y'all made these sounds. Like, I was so surprised. But yeah, no, I'm like, I gotta catch up with my shows, not just watching Smosh, and even then I haven't even watched Smosh like that. Will Trent is one. I'm like, whoever is consistently watching or listening to my podcast since like almost 2 years ago knows that I was watching Will Trent, and now I'm a whole season behind. Oops. I'm like, I love Will Trent. That's like the only propaganda thing I've been watching. And honestly, it's because it's based in Georgia, and they do a good job. Oh, the camera has been shifting. Whoops. That's so funny. There we go. But yeah, so the movie that I watched to kind of get into that is called Hard Truths. And I mean, there was a thing about grief in it as well. Oh my god, even before I get into that, I was also like, I definitely needed a break, because I was getting annoyed a little bit, because I was like, why do I feel like I'm chasing after movies that you know, are being really talked about and whatnot? And it's like, that's not the point of my podcast. I like enjoy talking about movies. I watch them and everything like that. But I don't really care about, I don't care too much about talking about something that's like well known, well talked about, or popular. Because the whole point of this podcast is that I'm, you know, ooh, let me not shake my leg, it's shaking the camera. But the whole point of this podcast is that I'm, you know, this is about what I like and what I want and everything like that. So that's another reason I needed to take a break, because I was like, what am I doing? Okay, I don't like the synopsis here. They're gonna go back. I watched it on Canopy. which is really nice. I love Canopy. Again, if you got a library card, you can sign up for Canopy for free, and they have all kinds of movies on there. It's really cool. Oh my god. Because yeah, why was she so angry? But because I'm looking at the Hard Truths just web search page, and I need to find a good synopsis. God, what a last like 10-15 minutes. I don't have anything, Goose. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Maybe longer than that, because literally somebody decided to sit down, a group of people decided to sit down next to me, and I was like, well, let me just pause so I don't look crazy, even though I have my phone in front of me. But then after they left, I felt like I was gonna get like haunted by the sound of an ice cream truck, because I was like, okay, they decided to park directly behind where I am and then just kept going. I was like, oh my god. Like right now I feel like I hear it even though it's not even anywhere near here. All these geese are in a trail. I'm like, I could pick up the camera, I guess, because I'm more so looking over here. The geese are walking. They're slowly getting... No, don't look at me, Goose. They're looking at me. They're looking at me. Little goose interlude. Oh my gosh, speaking of, I finished music. My EP is done. But I don't know when I'm gonna release it. Now it's like, okay, I gotta get the visuals together. I'm not gonna put it on Spotify because money that goes towards Spotify, you know, like the memberships and stuff, all that is used to supply like AI stuff, and not just, you know, fucking generative AI. It's like the military use of AI, like the AI that is used to send drones and shit to kill people remotely. Like, it's that kind of AI. The stuff that's being used to like catch a criminal type shit. And I'm like, I don't want anything to do with this. I don't have a membership anymore. I'm opting out of putting it on that particular streaming platform. And I'm gonna have it on Bandcamp, actually. Bandcamp. Nice, lovely. It's always interesting hearing other people's conversations. It's like, oh, what are y'all talking about? Can I be a part of it? I'm gonna give you my 2 cents. No, I'm not, I don't do that. But I remember hearing this woman talk about somebody, and she's like retelling a story to, I'm gonna pause. She was like retelling a story to a friend, and I was walking past her with my friend, and we were just like, oh, what happened? actually, no, we're invested. Come here, walk with us and tell us your story. Like, it was that sort of level of interesting. It's always interesting when the geese run off. Is it because of that van? like y'all just ventured into the grass and now you're going back. I know, little fella. No, keep going, keep going. It was looking at me like I had something. I don't have anything right now. I don't know if geese are intelligent enough to remember people. I have no idea. I have no idea. But I'm like, wow, my ADHD is on full force right now because I'm outside and observing people, animals. I'm kind of hungry too, actually. Anyway, hard truth. It is a movie that came out in 2024 that I had wanted to see, but it was only in theaters briefly. I think at the beginning of that year, not like early January, but late January. So I'm like, okay, so y'all know this is a good-ish movie. It did win a lot of awards. Yeah, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna use Wikipedia and describe and use what they wrote to describe the movie because IMDb says nothing, unfortunately. Yeah, because I'm like, the IMDb description was just like a nothing burger. But yeah, so this movie is set in London. Its plot follows the plight of a depressed and naysaying woman and the relationship with her jovial sister, Chantel. Oh my god, I'm so glad the sister exists in this movie because when we are introduced to Pansy, she seems a bit neurotic. She is just like so negative. And it's just like, oh my god, can't she just stop? And then, we are introduced to her son, Moses. We're introduced to her husband, Curtly. And they are, just victim to her insults. And, they never talk back to her or anything like that. I'm like, how could y'all even live like this? Like, come on, have a backbone, have a spine or whatever. And then as the movie, continued and I was saying those things and I was just like, oh, wait, I lived like this because my dad is like this, or my dad was like this. And again, this is where, grief coming back and stuff. But I'm like, at least he relented at some points. Like, there were moments where he wasn't like that. But I'm like, she was just like never ending. It was like, oh my god. God damn. But it's like I had in the past, full-blown phone conversations where he would just be negative Nancy about like everything, and state of the world, the world coming to an end and all this stuff. And I was just like, okay, what he wanted, he wished for me and like the world and all this stuff. And then, he'd be kind of religious about it and all these things. But, at some points he would relent. And also this behavior was more like I was the target of it mainly. Like, he wouldn't do this to strangers or other family, I guess. No, he would do it to other family, I think. But but it wasn't, he wouldn't do this to strangers. He was very polite to other people, even if he would later complain about them to me, or they would have a lifestyle that he has previously complained about, it would be that kind of thing. But this woman, Pansy, oh my God, it was just like, I was like, oh, well, maybe she's not like that outside of the home, but she is like that outside of the home. But it also felt like she was like kind of a germaphobe or something, like, and just didn't want to be surrounded by people. You know, it was just like, at some point it was just like, what is her issue? Marianne Jean-Baptiste did a phenomenal job in me not liking her. And they are calling it like a comedy drama. And I'm like, I think some of the insults she was like slinging could be comedic, because they would be very pointed and whatnot, but I was just like, this is also negative, like, Jesus Christ. Actually, it was really funny to find out that John Waters, you know, I love him, you know, the director of Filth or whatever, director of Filth, love him. I think he's coming out with a new movie, actually. But, you know, according to Wikipedia, and they always cite their sources, he had named this movie his 4th favorite film of 2024, calling it a horribly sad and sometimes hilariously funny portrait of the most unpleasant sourpuss woman in the history of cinema. She's a rotten mother and a terrible wife, and everyone around her is racked with pain except the audience, which slowly begins to root for her. A wretched experience I'll cherish forever. Like, what a compliment, you know? And I'm gonna pause again because there is a crying baby. LOL, it went from baby not doing anything to a person just kind of screaming to get the geese to fly. Which is funny. I mean, I'm very much committing to doing this episode of the podcast outside. Ooh, the camera might die. Oh no. I'm like, that's a big ass bird. If that is a bird. There's so many cool birds over here on Lake Merritt. I've seen cranes, pelicans, herons. I mean, herons are the Oakland's like bird, essentially. But there's like the really not long-necked ones that are cool. God, birds are crazy. I'm like, why didn't we think they were dinosaurs before? Because like with herons, they can like elongate their necks. It's crazy. I saw it happen. I was like, that's not the same thing as the boy and the heron, right? And it is. But yeah, I'm like, John Waters complimenting this movie in such a way, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And in general, I believe it won some awards. Let me double check. Yeah, I won some awards at like film festivals, New York Critics Circle for Best Actress with Marianne, who played Pansy, one of the main characters. Yeah, so I'm like, this is really cool. I mean, one of the big things for me was like, okay, I want to watch this because it's Black people in London, and I hadn't looked at the synopsis again since that year. So, oh, okay, it actually came out 2025 in the States. So yeah, it was a movie that I was trying to watch last January, not 2 Januaries ago. But it was hitting the festival circuit in 2024. I'm like, yeah, that's how it is. Festivals. So fun. But yeah, no, I was like, she's insufferable. I don't like her. But then yeah, so then after we kind of switch over to Chantel, who is a hairdresser. And at first when we switched to her, I wasn't sure if we were gonna follow her or the person in her seat who she was braiding her hair. Was talking about like her husband cheating on her for a 3rd time, and she knew it based on like a dream she had. And I was just like, huh? But then, yeah, we switched to her being in her house, and she has her daughters. Her house is lovely. It's like a flat, like, Pansy lives in a house, and Chantel lives in a flat. I think her daughters live there too. Something like that. But it was such a stark difference between Pansy's family living situation to Chantel's, because it's like, she's obviously like friends with her children. Like, her children feel comfortable enough to talk and like joke around with her and things like that. And I was like, I love this. I love that as a situation. And, you know, in contrast, you have like, oh, that's another big one. I was like, oh my God, all these people are kind of just autistic coded. This is wild. Because Pansy's son, Moses, is definitely, he's a nonverbal autistic man who has his special, I'm like, he literally was on his bed, looking at a book about airplanes, or like planes, a type of plane. I can't remember. Okay, it's gonna be. I think people in the rest of the world would be shocked that I'm cold right now, or that it is cold and windy. It is currently 65 degrees, high 66, low 54. What's that in Celsius? I'm not that cold, but it is windy. Celsius to Fahrenheit. It's 18 degrees Celsius. Before you have to convert that, it's 18 degrees. LOL. But that sounds colder than it is versus 65. I like 65. I mean, but it's also like, I'm used to it. Yeah, I'm like, it's something I'm used to. But what was I gonna say? But yeah, it's just such a stark difference between how Pansy and her child. Oh, I was talking about Moses. I'm like, Moses is such an autistic man. I'm like, oh my God, look at him and his special interests in his house. His mom is always complaining to him about not doing this and that and all this stuff. And it's like, she hasn't called her own son dumb, but she has called her husband's co-worker dumb. You know, and then like her husband, her husband's co-worker, I don't know if he's an apprentice, but her husband owns like a plumbing company, and he hired someone, and his name is Virgil, and he's autistic as well, and like in a different way, but he's more he's vocal. I was just like, wow, this is like kind of a character study on the different levels of which autism appear in Black people, kind of, sort of. But it comes to a head though, because, you know, at some point I'm like, she's just so miserable, and her sister is trying to reach out, trying to have her still be a part of her life and everything like that. And of course, Pansy is complaining, like, oh, you never call me, all this stuff, I have to call you. And Chantel is just like, I do call you, you don't pick up. And Chantel's over at Pansy's house doing her hair in like a house call. And Pansy's just like, look, this is the part in the back of my head where it's all red and stuff. And she's just like, are you hydrating? It's just flaky. back here. It's not red. God, there was like a whole sequence of her. Oh, but Chantel, before I get there, Chantel had come over. She was redoing her hair and everything like that. And she was like, I'm gonna go to the cemetery on Sunday. It's Mother's Day. You should come with, and then come afterward, bring Curly and Moses over because the girls want to see their cousin. They miss their cousin. And this, of course, caused like a level of friction. Like Pansy really didn't want to do this, or she wasn't saying she didn't want to do it. She was just like back and forth about like, I will let you know. I've got to play it by ear type shit. Just like I don't know how I'm gonna feel that day. And it's just like, oh, okay. So there's definitely, underlying thing going on with her. And she's always bringing up like, she's got issues, health issues and stuff. But yeah, there was like a whole sequence of her trying to go to the doctor. The doctor she likes wasn't there, and it was a younger person who was trying to give her an examination. And of course she had to fight that woman. And then she tried to go to the dentist after, and I was like, doctor and dentist, damn. Oh, universal healthcare. And then she couldn't do the dentist either. She's like, why are you torturing me? And it was just like, I'm trying to examine you. God damn. Back and forth. But ultimately, she is dragged to the cemetery, and it's for the gravestone that they visit is their mom's mom, Pearl, and Chantel is, trying to take care of the gravestone, trying to put flowers on it and everything like that. And then again, Pansy is complaining and whatnot. And it comes out because she's just like, Chantel is at some point. Oh, there we go. So Pansy was talking about how their mom would always complain about her behavior. Like, why couldn't you do this? Why can't you do that? Why can't you enjoy life? And then Chantel is just like, well, why can't you? And Pansy's like, I don't know. Like, this whole conversation comes to a head at that point, and I was just like, whoa, okay, we're getting somewhere with this character. We're getting somewhere with this plot and everything like that. And then, we come to find out that Pansy was the one who found their mom 5 years ago, dead. Her arms curled up, her looking up at her, disappointing and disapproving of her, and that's haunted her for the last 5 years. And it's like, okay, so this explains her behavior. She's literally being haunted by her disapproving mom, and she's also the oldest, so her mom was using her to help raise Chantel and everything. Ooh, I hope oh my god, I hope everything was good. I didn't realize that my mic was weird. I'm like, how long was it crazy like that? Anyway, so it was a lot. Like, Chantel was like, I wish I found her. Like, I truly wish I found her 5 years ago. And so this has made her... I honestly, I don't even think this has made her miserable. I feel like she's always been kind of miserable. She was talking about how she thinks everyone hates her, from Kurtley and Moses and everything to her nieces, and how she doesn't even love Kurtley. She doesn't even like him, and the whole reason she even married him is because she didn't want to be alone and do life by herself. And Chantel was just like, well, what's wrong with that? Like, mom did that, I'm doing that, like, what's wrong with that? And then she's just like, I forgot what their dad's name is, but because they all call their parents by their like actual name. You know, like he shouldn't have left us. Everything like that. Like their mom was just so much harder on Pansy than she was on Chantel. So it's like when you grow up and you're experiencing a parent very differently from how your siblings are experiencing them, and it's just like, that's really rough. That's really hard. Especially if, you know, you see that difference right in your fucking face. And so I was like, oh yeah, so she is also like autistic in her own way. She's the more talkative type, but negative as well. And I'm like, yeah, that's where Moses gets it from. But, you know, well, he gets it from his dad, because his dad is someone who is not as vocal as well. I'm like, I hate the phrase selective mutism, because it sounds like you can pick and choose when you are mute and silent. And it's like, no, I can't select when I'm quiet and mute. Like there are instances where I've been like, I physically can't talk right now. Like in general, I can't do it. And I grew up like that. I'm like, this podcast is an exception because I'm talking about an interest of mine extensively. And if you meet me in life, I will most likely be quiet. But if you pull out a special interest that I like, then all of a sudden I'll be like yapping like crazy. I was just like, oh, okay, so we have yapper neurodivergent meets non-yapper, you're neurodivergent, and then y'all you know, have a child and get together. And it's so interesting because neurodivergent people are attracted to each other. That's just, it is what it is. And what happens, oh my god, I kept watching this movie and I was like, please just let this be a regular movie. Don't let anything happen to the son. And literally after I said that, he gets like accosted by people from, I'm assuming his like high school days or something. Like they poke fun at him, but they don't like beat him up or something. And I was like, oh, cool. And then of course I'm like, oh, I hope nothing happens to his dad. And then bam, something happens to his dad. But we'll get there. So Chantel brings Pansy over to her flat. Oh, that was a beautiful scene too, where Chantel is holding Pansy, and that's also what the movie poster is. It's like that part of the movie. I don't think that's a bird. Oh my god, let me stop looking over there. But yeah, I'm like, I don't, oh, I hope. Anyway, so I don't think she, I don't know what I was trying to say, but as I was saying it, I was like, wait a minute, did I pause it and not record what I just said the last 5 minutes? So I had to like pause and double check my recording, and thankfully I was recording, so I don't have to repeat myself. But yeah, oh, that's what I was gonna say though. Chantel hugs her and she's like, I do love you. Nobody hates you. I wish I could understand you. You know, and that was really heartfelt and touching. And then from there, we see one of the daughters like jogging back home. And then Moses and Kirtley show up for the afternoon, after the, you know, women are done going to the cemetery. And it is Mother's Day, so, which I was like, I was remembering that, but also forgetting that, because I was like, oh yeah, y'all are trying to celebrate your mother that passed, but it's like, oh wait, they're both currently mothers, duh. And so Pansy and Chantel also make it back, and Chantel's daughters are, I don't know if, do we get their names? I think it's Alicia and Kayla. There we go. Alicia and Kayla are, you know, getting everyone's plates together. Pansy decides not to eat for whatever reason, and then Chantel doesn't eat either. They're just drinking champagne. And I was like, oh wait, yeah, this is the Mother's Day celebration for them. And I'm like, of course, Pansy had previously also like complained that, you know, they're probably expecting me to cook for them on Mother's Day. Moses hasn't even done anything for me since like he was a child, being forced to make something at school to bring to me. He hasn't done anything for me. And then so I realized I should just act like I'm talking on the phone. Because that is, I mean, whoever's listening to this, you're my friend. Yeah, I'm like explaining this movie to you. Like, obviously, like, duh. But I'm also like, I'm just getting this all out too. These geese, why are they going so slow? Slow life, slow living. So demure, so mindful. But yeah, it's just like Pansy is surprisingly quiet, you know, while she's over there. She took the stairs, not the elevator, and I'm like, okay, she has probably a whole thing about elevators. And I'm like, okay, maybe this like heartfelt like moment where she, you know, actually talks about the crux of the situation, like the core of what is her issue, and that like finally helped her be not only vulnerable but like honest with what's going on with her. So there was no reason for her to, pelicans are so fucking big, man. But there was no longer a reason for her to use her sort of combative way of speaking to push people away. I was like, oh wow, some character growth. But later on it's like, okay, that's not the case actually. She's still just depressed. Because there was a whole thing too where she was just like, I just wanted to stop. I want to just close my eyes and sleep. And I was like, oh, she's like going through it. And she's doing one of these things where she is lashing out, trying to push people away, you know, so that it can become sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy of like, nobody cares about me. And therefore I can just, you know, end it all because nobody would care if I was gone. And I'm like, damn, this is really sad. This is really something, you know, and it definitely changed my mind about her and what's going on, because it's like, at the end of the day, you really don't know what people are going through. It sucks to even be on the other side of someone like her, of like someone who is lashing out, being really mean and cruel to you for no reason, out of nowhere, as like a customer service person or just a stranger off the street. It's just like, where is this coming from? You know, and it's like unfortunately, you have to just brush it off and just be like, well, you're not angry at me, but you're angry about something. And it has nothing to do with me, and you're using me as a sounding board. And like when I got there some years ago about that, it made life a little bit easier, because I was like, because I used to fawn, I think, whenever I would have, you know, that would be how my dad would be to me. So I'd be fawning around him and just being like, how do I make this better? What do I do? You know? And so if I was caught in that situation with like a stranger, I would also just be like, well, I just need to do whatever they need because I need them to calm down or at least leave. But now it's like, no, like whatever you're fucking mad about, it has nothing to do with me. You're just taking it out on me. And I'm not going to internalize your anger towards me. Because it isn't actually towards me, it's towards whatever you're actually upset about. And I'm not here to fix that for you. And I don't deserve to be talked to in this way either. And that would be at like customer service, like situations like at my job and stuff. And I'm just like, well, I can't actually fucking leave right now. I have to just deal with this. There was a helicopter, so I had to stop. There's also a motorbike, but I don't know how much of that you can hear. I don't know how much this mic picks up, honestly. But I don't want to feel like I'm having to fight over something. But yeah, no, it's like whatever anger, it starts being in a customer service situation where you are attacked verbally by people and you can't really leave. But you can offshoot that person to a manager, unfortunately. But usually a manager, you know, has more power than you, so they can give them the discount or whatever, and get them to shut the fuck up and leave. And then we could also just never let them come back in here after that fucking situation, because yeah, got the power to do that. But yeah, so they're just sitting. Everybody's enjoying their food, who has food. And, you know, at some point, Kayla and Alicia are like, did you like the flowers that Moses got you? Trying to make casual conversation with Pansy. And May's like, what? And they're like, Moses, did you not tell her? And, you know, Moses finally said something like, oh, yeah, I got you flowers, but I couldn't give them to you because you left to the cemetery. And I wasn't sure at first. I thought she was crying, but she started laughing, and then it turned into crying. And then Chantel tried to ask Curtly, like, oh, wait, how are your folks? How's your mom doing? Curtly just looks shocked and then never says anything. And then they make it home, and Pansy decides to just take all of Curtly's clothes out of his closet, their shared room, of course, and tosses it aside because she's like, I'm disgusted by you. I'm disgusted at your behavior. You sit there in my sister's home eating up their food, and then she asks you a civilized question about how your folks are doing, and you just sit there. I'm disgusted. And I'm like, you know, this is the one time I agree with you because that was weird. Like, that was weird that you didn't follow that up and have a conversation. I know he could have been shocked that, like, whoa, you're actually trying to converse with me? I never get that from my wife. But it was just like, why didn't you say anything? I'm like, is his mom dead? Like, is that it? Like, what happened? We never learned any of this. So he just sleeps on the couch downstairs. He goes to work. Virgil is there. They're removing a old tub, and he ends up throwing out his back. And I was like, wait, why didn't you go to the hospital? He gets taken home by Virgil. Virgil goes upstairs to wake up Pansy, who is shocked, and, you know, tells Pansy, like, hey, he's downstairs. He threw out his back. Virgil checks in with Curtly, is like, are you gonna be okay? And he's like, yeah. Talks about how Virgil tells Virgil tells Curtly that Pansy should be heading down. And then Virgil leaves, and we have this sort of bookend moment where the beginning of the movie is exactly like the end of the movie, where we see Virgil get his bike and drive off. We started the movie seeing Virgil come into frame on his bike, and with the house on the exterior shot of the house with Virgil going by it on his bike. And Pansy is just standing. She's so surprised or whatever still, but she doesn't look like she's gonna go downstairs. Curtly is downstairs. He is in pain, and they both have like a tear going down their face, and then it kind of ends there. And like, I was just like, please, I need some change or whatever. And then we cut to Moses while the credits are rolling. He's like sitting in like a Times Square area, like a square area of like a city. I'm like, it's probably more of a known place to people who are actually from London, because I'm like, I don't know where this is. But he's sitting listening to his music, and then this woman shows up, probably around his age too, and she is offering him candy. He takes it, and then she's like, oh, can I sit next to you? And then he's like, yeah, sure. And then she's talking at him, and I'm like, oh. And then the cycle continues. A more talkative neurodivergent person ending up with a silent neurodivergent person. How funny. And I like that as like an ending moment, because I'm like, okay, this is cute. Because it's not like he doesn't have social skills or anything like that, because he does. But it also feels like he doesn't really have motivation, really. I mean, it does suck to be neurodivergent or any form of like anything not neurotypical, because it's like you're expected to be a part of society and like have a job and be heteronormative and get married and have children and continue the human race, if you will, and contribute to society. And it's like all the masking that happens when you're working customer service job, of having to smile all the time, you know, it's like, and be positive. It's like, that's really hard, and like I genuinely hate it. And so it's like, rather than getting a customer service job, it's like you have to try to get a job that is within your special interests, or like maybe away from people in some kind of way. But then it's like, oh, if you hadn't spent a good chunk of time honing that skill or craft, now you're kind of stuck only really being able to get customer service jobs. And then it's like, okay, well, what can I tolerate the most? Because we live in society and I need to make money, yada yada. You know, it's rough. And you know, he's also probably someone that isn't diagnosed and things like that. So a lot. But I did like that as the ending. And I have a list of movies that I have been meaning to watch that I'm gonna go through. I'm not gonna go away from watching the movies that are coming out in theaters. I'm still gonna be more selective about it. Like, I'm going to maybe watch Cheap Detectives. Not sure. I don't know if I'm gonna watch Disclosure Day. I'm curious about it, but I'm not that curious. And then in general, I think I was gonna try to see the Backrooms Everything Must Go version of the movie, because I'm like, okay, well, that's out at least, and I'm like, just to follow up with whatever additional 15 minutes he added to the credits. I think it's in the after credits or something. because the movie's gonna still be the same, I think. It'll be interesting to watch it a second time. But otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna end it there. You can find me on Instagram at v_noir_. Follow me on Patreon, patreon.com/vnoirs film club. And yeah, check out my podcast archive at NWWITA and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.